Hello. I'm just doing a quick video today, and I just thought I'll show you a little bit some of my planners and journals and the pens that I pair with them, because yeah, why not? It's fun. Okay, so what shall we start with? This is my Filofax Pocket Fimbri Raspberry. I adore this colour so much, and this is my sort of like an everyday carry. I think of it as my appointments planner. So I have fun stuff in here, but bits that, and by fun I mean it's things like this, but it's stuff that I do want to remember. And in here I have my friction pen, and you notice I keep it in there rather than in the loop. The reason for that is because it has a sort of rubbery bit to it here, like this is smooth, you know, plastic or metal, and this sort of has a rubbery which sticks, and it's just a nuisance to take in and out. So it's not a perfect pen for here. Oh my gosh, you see how much it sticks? So yeah, it's not a perfect pairing, and I stick it in here and it keeps in there pretty well. It's again not perfect, but I don't find that it slips in and out, and you can see it does stick out a little bit. Don't know if it show easily on the video, but the smallest amount, a few millimeters, it does stick out. So it's probably the least perfect pairing I have, or not a perfect pairing at all. But it's a friction pen, which means I can erase it. So I get to have the benefit of a pen, but I can erase it. And because it's an appointments one, it is something that I am going to erase all the time. I'm always erasing something. Strangely, because I do a lot of the planning or appointment adding when I'm at my table, I end up not using it. It ends up just staying in there. Quite silly of me. And I reach over and I get my microns, because I like how they look and how they're black, and I end up putting them in here, which is so silly. Like, I don't know. Do you do that sometimes? You have a pen that you prefer for a planner, but then you end up picking up what's around you. So very silly. And then when I do use the friction, because it's quicker and I'm here and I pick it up, it's in my weekly section, which I just put like a phrase of the day and my tarot of the day. And I don't really need to erase it here, because it's just not something I keep, it's something I transcribe. So if I want to get rid of it, you can see I just scribble it. So sort of, I wouldn't say it's irrelevant or defunct. I do erase things, but when it comes to my trackers, I use the Ohuhu dual tip dot pens. I have been a bit disappointed with the dot pens in how much I can use them. I mean, they're great if you're a Bujo heavy paper user, but as a Hobonichi, Stalogy, Moleskine type of user, then these aren't the best. They do come through. However, for my trackers here, I have used heavy paper to print, because these are printables. So you can choose your printables and you can choose your paper. So I chose that for my trackers, to have this slightly heavier paper, and they work great. They don't bleed through. I believe this is it's not card, so it's not 160. I would have to check, but I think it's at least 130 gram paper. So that's it. It's just my friction, and I do sometimes even use pencil in case I just want to quickly pencil something in. But see, here I did use the friction, and I just forgot something here and started with micron. Very silly, but there we are. Not perfect insofar as how it fits and all that, but it works for erasing, so I do like it. I bought this one in this sort of mauve dusky rose colour. I don't know what to call it, but I think the colour goes nicely with the raspberry. This is my chunky, as you can see, very chunky TN reference system. And I have here my most expensive pen, which is not expensive, you know, in the fountain pen world, but for me it is. And this is the Angel Skin, and I will link it down the bottom. I have mentioned it before. It's absolutely glorious, wonderful craftsmanship, writes lovely, and it's just such a pretty pen. It's not one that obviously I would want to take out anywhere. I say obviously, maybe some people do. I wouldn't want to take it out anywhere. I don't especially need or want to use it a lot. As far as fancy fountain pens, my mouth isn't working this morning, fountain pens go, I find it writes lovely, but I don't find it writes any more lovely than my, say, Twisby pen. So it's not something that I'm especially enamoured with. I think fountain pens look beautiful, and if I could afford them, I'll buy them for their looks. But as far as writing, I'm happy with a lot of other pens, so it's not you know, a big deal for me. As far as size, it's almost perfect. I've got this leather in this sort of raw state almost, but it is aging over time. So I just think it goes perfectly with this pink, coral pink colour on the Angel Skin. So I think they work really nice. This is my Sidekick, and I've spoken at length on a separate video about this one. I love my Sidekick. This is my buddy, and this is a Leuchtturm Daily Planner. It is in German, this one, which is perfectly fine. I can read it. And I absolutely adore this. And I have here a Sharpie S Gel 0.7. And I've mentioned this before. I like this one because this planner is scribble. Anything and everything gets thrown in here. It's a brain spill, it's a creative outlet if that's all I have near me, all of that. So what I love about this pen, it's easy, it's simple, it writes nice and smoothly. If I point straight down, it's fine, it writes like a fine nib, and if I angle it, it writes like a wide nib. You can just see possibly there, which is great for a journal that I scribble in, but also am a little bit creative or do some lettering or that sort of thing. If I need that thickness, I can get it. I mean, look how it's like a 1mm, but the top is like, I say the top, when I write the top, it's like a maybe a 0.5. So yeah, it's quite a difference. So that's just handy. And it writes really smooth. This Sharpie is really, really nice. I have it here on a pen loop, a rose gold pen loop, and that's when it's on its own or it's around the house. But if I take it out in the travel kit, then I take the pen loop off, and it fits. The length is perfect. So love that. This is my commonplace book, and I'm not very fancy in this book at all, and that was by design, and I will talk another time. I will make a video about my commonplace book another time. But in here I just use black, and I think just my go-to ink, which is Quink. I have so many black inks, and I normally just go to Quink. And I'm using here a Lamy Rose Gold, not special edition or limited, but something like that, special edition or limited edition, something like that. Nothing too fancy, just I like the rose gold, and I just think it went nicely with my brown sort of muted tones in here, because I tend to use a somewhat vintagey look in the stickers. So I just thought it went nicely with that. And as far as length, it's just perfect. I will link this cover down below. It's just from Amazon, but look how lovely and wide it is, which is perfect for this journal. But we'll talk another time about that one. What else do I have? So this is my TN. This was my daily planner. I say was. It goes back and forth. Like, watch my video on Planner Freedom, if that doesn't make sense to you. But this is, where's my, oh, right here. So this is my current daily, and this is one that if I feel like switching over, then I can use this one. So I cut down a Hobonichi A6 and I was using that as a daily, and that's where I discovered that daily panning really, really works for me. And you can see I've got tracker, and so yeah, and then I had the weeks at the back. So I was doing that for my pre-planning and then using my daily. There we are. It's a lovely, lovely little system. And I have here my TUSB. Oh, is this the sports or the mini? No, it's just the mini, not the sports, just the mini. So it's just fantastic for this. It just has Quink ink in it as well. But I do swap. Sometimes I'll have Quink and sometimes I'll have Herbin because of it's a nice dry ink, the Herbin. So in general, the reason why I always go to Quink, because usually it's the closest black at my table, but also it's a fairly quick drying ink compared to some others. It's not an especially wet ink, at least anyway, so to go through and bleed through paper, so it's quite good. And the other one is Herbin. Herbin is a nice dry ink as well. So this little mini just fits so nicely in there. It tucks in because I've got these plastic envelope things that stick out a little bit, so there's like a little nice groove and it just fits lovely in there. I really like that one. And this is also now my daily. So this was my sort of my backup sidekick, or my sidekick, but it's actually turned out to be my daily planner and it's working fantastically. And this is a Moleskine, and yeah, and all I didn't really think too much about the pen on this one. It just ended up being the Sharpie S Gel as well, but in this white colour. I actually thought this was a white pen when I first bought this. So I was really disappointed that it was black, but anyway. So I've used it because it was similar to my sidekick. I just did the same. But the white sort of goes with this. I didn't want black, so I popped it in here. The other type of pen that I have used in here and would use in here is any sort of jet stream pen. Not this one. Unfortunately, the gel stream just doesn't fit into here, and it's just awkward. I could put it like this, I think, because it's thick. No, it doesn't. No, everything falls out. It's lots of space, but then not enough space in this. Oh, loops that don't fit things, but they can't fit everything, can they? They can't fit every pen for everybody's taste, so that's fair enough. So this one fit, but like I said, I didn't give it a whole bunch of thought into this one. I just went with it because it's similar to my Leuchtturm. But yeah, it works. It's fine. I don't need it to do anything. I don't need to erase anything. I'm happy scribbling here. It's a messy, just daily go-to and to-do list and that sort of thing. So I have no problem with scribbling, and it doesn't have to be neat at all. This is not Instagram. This is Instagram ready planner. It's my proper workhorse. So either a Sharpie or a Jetstream, and the reason being is because they're both very smooth writers. They just write lovely, and I like to scribble. When I scribble and I write quickly, I like my pen to keep up with me like that. Right, what else? So then I have my weekly. This is a Moleskine as well, and I use Micron because they just write so well. And I can choose different thicknesses. I switched over to the 0.5 this week, and I don't know why, but I'm behind here. Oh, I jotted down somewhere else. So this is my daily log, and I just like the way the 0.8mm looks. And yeah, so I used that, and then I went to the 0.5, but I don't like it. I find that's just too busy for my brain, so this is much better, so I'm going to flip back to the 0.5. And it's not a perfect pen, so this is another one that's not a perfect pen. It does bleed through at the dots, at the end points, but it's just a log, and it's fine, it works. But like I said, I like the way it looks and works out there. So it's about feel, it's about the final look, it's about fits, it's about paper. So sometimes it's a compromise of what I use. So memory keeping. So I was using my Hobonichi Cousin, and again, if this sounds loopy, check my Plan of Freedom video, but I've switched over for October into this little, actually it's just a notebook. It's just the notebook that came free with my Hobonichi order for 2025, which is just crazy. It's like I have so many planners and journals, and it's just funny, sometimes a little notebook will just do the trick. So I switched over at least for October. I don't know how long I'll go in here, but that's what I do. I go with what feels right and feels good at the time, rather than having anxiety over it, or disliking what I'm using, or feeling I have to push through. And for here, I use fountain pens. So I switch between fountain pens according to the colour. So that's just a straight, this would have been just my 2B Quink ink, but then I have all different colours, and I tend to put the colour on the side that I'm using so then I can remember. And I switch between fountain pens, as I said, and Sarasa clip. And these are, I don't know if I bought them all in one big set. I have a feeling they're probably all separate. They come in their basic colours, pastel colours, pearl colour. This is a pearl. They have metallic colours, just really, really lovely. The metallic, this pearl one is a 1mm, but they tend to be 05s. And they're lovely colours. They're not too intense. The ink is not wet, so they tend to sometimes come through, but in the main they don't bleed or ghost too much. I mean, it's Hobonichi paper, this is TR paper, so they ghost a little bit. But this gives me lots and lots of colours to choose from that work in here, because I love a lot of colour in my dailies. And then for markers, I use the Rytec Sign Brush pen, the Mile Liners, which most of us use, I think, and the Sailor Shikiori. I would use these even more if they had more colours. They're just limited in their colours, and I would use these more if they were wider. So between all three, they give me something. These gives me nice sharp lines, and also I have really pale colours in this because they are like a highlighter type pen, aren't they? And these are lovely for lettering, really, really lovely. And these are great for when I want something wider, like I've done there, or something, you know, really wide highlighting. Or either way, those three work. And all the Sarasas, and I have lots and lots of Sarasas, and vintage and dark, all sorts, but these light colour ones are really, really great. I will link these down below as well. Oh, what else do I have? Oh, so this is my Ephemera diary or journal, and I use fountain pens, or no, not fountain pen, sorry, fountain pen ink. But what I use is this, I don't know how to pronounce it, I should have checked with my son, he speaks Japanese quite well. Iro Utsushi, ooh, okay. So it's this lovely dip pen, and it writes like a dream. It's the smoothest dip pen I've ever used. Very nicely made, nice shape, and I'll just use that. And this is great, and I use this a lot, despite having lots and lots of fountain pens, not fancy ones, but I've got lots of Lamis, and I have different colours in them, so I can easily move around with them. This is just the easiest thing to do, especially when I just do a little bit of writing. Sometimes I do a lot, sometimes I just do a tiny bit, but I can just grab a little bottle of ink, grab this, dip, write, wipe, and it's done. You can see it's just a little bit, and yeah, rather than messing with a fountain pen that I might have to clean or, you know, restart because it's dried up a little bit, then yeah, this is always there. So love this little guy, one of my favourite purchases. And I believe this is the last one, I think so for now. So there's a Moterm cover. This is my Hobonichi Weeks, which I don't use to plan, I use as structured notes. So this is my structured notes planner diary, and love it. Love this long format. It's just, I couldn't believe it when I was writing it, how much I loved it, and it reminded me that I used to write like this in a TN, but the smaller version's even better. For this one, I have a Kaweco. And I really love Kaweco pens as well. They're affordable, but they write lovely. And I think this is the 1970s, or is it the 60s? I'm pretty sure I bought 70s because I was born in the 70s. And yeah, it's lovely, writes beautifully, and the orange is fantastic and goes with this. It's a little squeeze, but it fits in. The clip just doesn't open easily, so it's not great. But once it's tucked in there, then it's fantastic. So it's sort of a perfect pen aesthetically, but it does fit and all that. And because I have other planners in that, it's not so bad. There are times when I feel like I'm in and out of this very quickly, and then this sort of gets annoying. But what I tend to do if I'm doing that is I leave it out. It just sits on my table. I don't take this out with me usually, but it is ready there if I want to. So sometimes I just leave it out like that. But it does fit. This one alternates between Quink and Herb and Ink because, again, quick drying, because they're structured notes, but they're just notes. They're notes and ideas. So it might be ideas for videos or anything at all. And I want something that is, oh, there you go. I've got black inks there I'm talking about. Sorry, start reading. So there you go. I've got Herb in there, which is water-based, light, fast drying dry ink. So yeah, a nice thing for something that you just want to work quickly. And by fast drying, it is ink. It is a wet ink, so it's not like you can just quickly write over like some pens. But as far as fountain pen inks go, relatively speaking, it's fast drying. So that's the one I use for there. And I think my lovelies, that's the last one. So look at these lovelies. So thank you so much for being here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. That really helps me out. I really appreciate it, guys. And do let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear, like, do you match your pens with your planners and journals, or do you just use your current favourite pen with your current journal at the time, or do you just pick up whatever's on your desk and use that? I'd love to hear it. I absolutely love pairing my pens and my inks and my planners. It's just part of the whole planning and journaling experience for me as well. So yeah, that's enough for today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.